everyone, and welcome to the first of a special series of episodes taking a look at the Thought Bubble Comic Convention. So for those who don't know, Thought Bubble Comic Convention has been running now since 2008. So what?
No, before then. That was our first one.
Yeah, that was the first one we went to.
2007, because we missed the first one, and then we started going to the rest.
Yes, no, you're right.
Yeah, 2007. Yep.
November 2007 is the first Thought Bubble. So basically, Thought Bubble is the crown jewel really of the Comic Art Festival that they have, which is basically a week-long celebration of comics illustration and a lot of other stuff spread across Yorkshire, which ends in the 2-day convention, which is Thought Bubble, which is what we tend to descend upon. I've never gone to any of the other stuff really, which is I'd like to, but it's just getting up there and going to it and stuff. But I'm quite excited to be going this year. I haven't been in a couple of years, and I am joining Ant and Amy as we're going to descend upon Thought Bubble. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a couple of special episodes, just sort of having a look at some of the aspects of it and what we're looking forward to seeing. So today's episode, we are going to take a look at some of the debuting books that are going to be coming out at Thought Bubble. So actually, before I go any further, hello, Ant and Amy.
Hello.
Hello. Thought you'd forgotten about us then.
I had. I was on such a roll, and I suddenly thought, oh my God, I'm doing this with other people. It's not just me. I'm turning into Dave. Jeez. It's not good for you.
Don't do that. Never go full Dave.
No, I'd never go full Dave. Never go full Monts. No one wants that. Even Monts doesn't want that.
Even Monts don't want the full Monty.
No one wants the full Monty. So I am just... See, I was going to do what we used to do on Geek Syndicate when we had... we used to do a pilot season where we used to look at all the different new shows that were coming out, and they would read the blurb out, and then we would decide whether or not we liked it and stuff. But looking at this, there's a hell of a lot of debuted books.
Yeah. We'll be here for a week, I think, if we start going through them all like that.
Yeah. So shall we... I might just go through and pick a few that... some of them I've spotted are either follow-ups or ones that have just taken my interest. So you could go around one and do like one each and then sort of go around a few times. How does that sound?
Yeah,
I think that's fine, mate.
Good idea.
Yep.
Let's do that.
Cool. Well, I've spoken enough. So, Ant, do you want to take the first one?
Yeah, so I'm just scrolling down because there's one that caught my eye when I was just scrolling through because it was right up my street, I think. So it's Julia Carter 1.
That's on my list.
Well, I'm having it. So basically the blurb for this one is Julia Carter, ex-SAS, now foreign fighter, is trapped between a devastating war for the control of Europe and the internal conflict to reconcile her past. Little does she know that there are dark forces beyond her imagination that will test her training and willpower to survive. So some keywords there for me: SAS stuff. Yeah, it's right up my alley. And yeah, it's just one of those comics. I've not been reading that many comics recently, but when I have, it's either been just like collections of standalone things, like I read Old Man Hawkeye and stuff, or it's like I've been reading Bond books when they're released and stuff. So it's going to be good. And doing this and looking at some like titles that are debuting, actually, it's kind of starting to whet my appetite of some things that I could pick up and just get back into that again, and especially with Thought Bubble being, more independent based as well. It gets away from the old superheroes and stuff as well, which all good with me. So yes, I'm just having a look at the Instagram page for this one as well. There's not a lot actually on it, but some of the the cover work and stuff looks really, really interesting. So I'm guessing based on the description, this is it's going to be a little bit maybe a little bit paranormally, supernaturally. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's one I've got my eye on, I think.
Feels very Queen and Country, the initial vibes to me, which I loved. So
I've just gone to the website, which is bananatigerpress.com. Cool.
I'm in.
Yeah. I'm just looking. It's black and white. The art, yeah. I might have to pick this up. The art looks really cool.
Yeah, I think what might be cool as well, actually, if we pick some of these things up, or maybe we do like a retrospective episode as well after Thought Bubble, and just say, you know, things that we picked up and what we get. But yeah, it's one of those things. It kind of, there's a lot about it. Like, 'cause I'm not a big fan of horror and stuff, but supernatural I quite like. So it's like, you know, kind of like the urban fantasy kind of stuff. And also, it's always intriguing when there's a female protagonist, especially in something like the SAS, which traditionally there are no, you know, female operatives in. But it's good to see things getting out there, like old Steph. I'll be honest, in the Unseen Shadows stuff, you know.
Yeah. So I think I agree with Amy. The look of the art straight away, it made me think of Queen and Country. I'm looking at the cover, and now I'm suddenly thinking of the name Julia Carter. I'm thinking of John Carter.
Yeah, I can see that, especially because in the blurb it says Mars as well, and that's it's a sci-fi style.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna be picking this one up. All right, over to you, Amy.
So one that I've been looking at is being traditional. Is the Batman First Night, which is like proper 1939 style Batman.
Yeah.
So I'm really quite excited about seeing that. The art for it looks amazing. I feel I need a bit more noir in my life, and I'm a sucker for a cape. I feel like it could be really good, and it's nice to see that there's going to be like bigger books there as well. I'm just really looking forward to it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. It seems like just the right tone. And I imagine it's going to be one of the last books on the DC Black Label series, seeing as they're moving back to Vertigo as well.
Yeah, and I've been reading a lot of the Black Label stuff off Kindle Unlimited over the last sort of 6 months, and I've loved it all. So I'll definitely be picking this one up. So this is written by Dan Jurgens, and the art's by Mike Perkins.
Yeah, I'll read the blurb that's on the Thought Bubble site, and this will just... The original Batman in 1939. True noir, true crime, true Gotham, now collected.
Job done.
Doesn't need any more than that.
No. To be fair, had me at Noir Batman. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, Noir Batman. There we go. Job done. Yeah. That's it. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Because I haven't been reading a lot of comics recently, so I'm kind of really hoping that Thought Bubble can kind of springboard me back into picking up reading as much. Again, I've mainly been reading novels at the moment, so hoping that's springboard me into it, and I think that'd be a nice jumping in point towards. And I'm moving more towards collected editions nowadays, so it makes a bit of sense to try that out.
So this one is it's an all ages one, which I've picked mainly because I've read the other trades and I've loved, which is The Legend of La Mariposa, and this one is called The Sweetest Crimes. This is by James Lawrence. So this is basically about a wrestler / superhero called La Mariposa, and I've read the previous ones, and they're just awesome. They're like really great all ages reads, but again, all ages. Yeah, the art is lovely, really colourful. If you click on the link by the blurb, it takes you straight to their site, and you can see. So I've read. It's 4 of them. Yeah, I've read 4 of them, and they're all great. Can't recommend them enough.
What's kind of the vibe of it then? So all ages. It's sort of like what's like the genre type thing.
It's really difficult to. It's kind of supernatural wrestling.
Supernatural wrestling, all right.
Because she's a wrestler. She's like a Mexican wrestler. That's, but she kind of like goes around, gets involved in kind of supernatural japes, shall we say, and has to sort of get involved and sort it all out. And the humor's great. The dialogue is great. It's really difficult to kind of, like I said, to sort of describe it. But I would say supernatural wrestling. That's about as far as I could get. Supernatural Mexican wrestling. There you go.
I mean, that's a good elevator pitch.
Yeah. If you're looking for something for, like, the Littlands, these are great. Even if you're not looking for something for Littlands and you just want you want to laugh with some cracking art, I would well recommend picking these up. So I would probably pick this one up if he's there. Well, he will be there because I'm obviously reading the debut book. So yeah, I'll probably pick that one up. So I will add that to my list.
Nice. So my next one, and it's one that I think we picked up last time we were at Thought Bubble, which was Brigantia Volume 1.
Yeah, we did.
And Alaire Rakikot and Rebecca Nolte and Hassan Otsmane El Hawau. I'm not very good with names. But yeah, basically it's saga of a Celtic goddess who's been thrust into the modern day, essentially. And this is the second volume of that, and I remember really enjoying it. I'm sure I picked up Volume 1 at the last Thought Bubble we were at. It might even have been... No, it can't have been that long ago. But yeah, I'm sure we picked it up last time I was at Thought Bubble, so 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think we did.
It was 2 years ago.
But the it's just I remember being really intrigued by the story of it and the artwork and the actual the lore that was being built up with it. So so I'm quite intrigued to pick that up, because I think the first trade was like 3 issues, and I think this probably a similar size, but it was it was enough to just get your teeth into the start of the story. So I was really looking forward to learning more. So that's one that is on my list.
So a book that I've seen, and I've not seen it before, even though it's shockingly on the debut books, it's book 4. So I want to see if they've got the earlier books, is Sagas of the Shield Maiden.
I've literally just circling that.
So I've never read them, but like recently Kara's really got into Beowulf and a lot of the Norse mythology. So I don't think it's going to be suitable for her, but it looks interesting to me because I love a good Shield Maiden and I loved the Vikings TV series and stuff. So I was looking at picking up the first couple of volumes of that, maybe all 4 if I read them and it goes well. But yeah, so it's written by Asa Wheatley, and then it looks like there's a variety of different artists. It looks like it's more of like an anthology all around a title character.
Okay.
So it's basically separate stories of like this one Shield Maiden, but each one for different artists by the look at it.
Yeah, I just clicked on link, and very, very different styles on the 3, but all of them look quite. They look like they're different but good. If you know what I mean. It's not, sometimes you see a style and it's like that. I don't think that'll fit, kind of thing. Almost looks a bit Red Sonja. I'm getting Red Sonja vibes from it.
Is it because she's got red hair? Because
probably. Probably I am probably being.
You are literally as simple as that.
Yeah. Batgirl vibes.
Yeah, I'm gonna check this out. I mean, it's interesting though. I see unless I'm missing something, I can see the covers, but I can't see any interior art.
No, I can't see any.
It is just the covers. It's just the covers on there.
But like Amy, I loved Vikings, and recently I watched Twilight of the Gods. Was that what it's called?
Oh, that's the what's his name, isn't it? Snyder one.
Yeah. Which, if you haven't watched it, Amy, I would suggest you watch it. And then when I saw this, it kind of reminded me a little bit of how that sort of looked. So yeah, I'll be checking this one out. I'm going to see if I can. I'd like to see some of the interior art. So I might have a look.
If you go onto Asa Wheatley's Instagram, he has got interior art in some of the some of his Instagram posts, and it varies greatly. Looking at it, it looks like it really does vary greatly depending on the story that's being told, which I like, because I like that concept that the same character might have, different styles depending on the type of story. It's
like Robin Hood, or King Arthur. There's different versions, different ways of looking at the same character through a different filter. So it's quite good. Are they do you know if it's like an actual series, or is it like just, are they all standalone? Could you read book 2 without reading book 1, for example?
I do not know. I can't find out. But
because that would intrigue me, because then you could almost pick and choose, just if you had a favorite style or whatever. Because I must admit, with an ongoing series, I do get taken out when the art team changes. I struggled with Green Arrow when I started reading that, and it was the same artist for a long time. And then it changed, and it took me ages to get back into it. It took me 4 or 5 issues to resettle. It's almost the same, and it's an odd comparison, but it's kind of the same as an audio book series when they change narrator between books.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of just take you out of it for a bit, because it's this ain't right. And that's not to say any one style is better than the other. It's just, that's a personal thing for me. It's sometimes that change, more often than even the writer changing, the art style changing, just really kind of takes me out a bit. So if they are kind of standalone, that would appeal to me a lot more as well, because it's kind of well, this is a tale and this is another tale, and I can see it as a separate thing. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to find out, but it's definitely one I'd like to check out.
Yeah, likewise. Okay, so I need to play catch up, because I think I'm a few books behind. But I would be remiss in not mentioning Yomi and Corey and Jenny have a new Clockwork Watch coming out.
Yeah.
Which is Sins of My Father 3, which is the 11th book in their series, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible just how big and expansive it all is.
Yeah. And, when people always say transmedia to me, I always direct them straight to Clockwork Watch, because that's as much really, when you look up transmedia in dictionary, you should see a picture of Yomi just smiling back at you.
To be fair, it's never a bad thing to see a picture of Yomi smiling back at you.
No, you're right. It's not.
I am looking forward to seeing him again.
Yeah. So full disclaimer, I am, we're good friends and stuff, so it doesn't matter. The quality and the writing speak for itself.
Absolutely.
But if you haven't checked out Clockwork Watch, you need to do so.
Yeah.
A lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, just going back, the whole transmedia thing with them. I know they do, because they do talks and workshops and kind of interactive events and stuff as well, don't they? When they're doing things, so it's it's properly there. It's an experience more than just the comics. If you can kind of get immersed in it, and especially if you do like the steampunky vibes and all the rest of it, it's proper good comics.
I mean, even when you go to their website is basically done like a newspaper, like a gazette, with all different articles and stuff like that. It's just the level of depth that they go into this world is incredible, really. So I am looking forward to catching up with them all and taking a look at it, really. But I'm a little bit way behind, so I may pick up a few ones whilst I'm there, maybe.
Time to stock up.
Yeah.
Yeah, ready for the winter reading period.
Indeedy. So do we want to go? We'll go around for one more round, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm going to go slightly off piste for this one.
Okay.
So it's not actually on the debuting books list, but it is something that is sort of debuting. So basically, it's one of the guests is they've got the Etherington brothers going, and essentially they've kickstarted some books which are called How to Think When You Draw and Write books, which they've kind of kickstarted. and essentially they're at Thought Bubble, and it's the only place outside of the Kickstarter you can get hold of the books. And they champion free art education for everyone, and their client list includes Disney, DreamWorks, and Aardman Entertainment. So it's not like they don't know what they're talking about, if you know what I mean. And I'm a sucker for a how-to book. I mean, I've got like a shelf or two full of like, how to draw and how to write kind of books for comics and things. So this is something that I'm probably going to have to stock up a bit of funds for and see what they've got, because it looks like there's 7 books that they've got out. So, wow. But essentially, yeah, they're a series of tutorials and stuff. So yeah, for me, that's one that I'm definitely going to look and pick up. But yeah, slightly off piste, but certainly something that I'm interested in.
So not necessarily off piste, but mine is looking out for books for Cara. So there's one called Fox Flight Market Night by Beatrice Brower / Beastie Worlds, and it's Fox Flight Market Night is a story about 2 sisters, Sam and Dot, from a family of shape-shifting foxes. I don't need to say any more, and I know Cara's going to love that. They've moved into a new place and their parents are out for the evening. Sam is hyper-focused studying for her new class, but Dot yearns for excitement and most especially a visit to a magical place she's never been to before, the night market. And there is a link to the website there, and it looks so cute. It looks very like cartoony but watercolor painted, if that makes sense. So thick marker outlines, but like a watercolor colouring, and it looks so cute, and shape-shifting foxes, that's right up Cara's alley. So I think it would just be a really cute one that she'll really, really enjoy.
Nice.
It feels like there's a lot of romance comics debuting this year. It seems like when you look through and read through, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because it's nice to just get away from like all of the same thing, but it feels like this year is heavily leaning towards romance, and also horror seems to be quite
romance and horror. Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, I mean, Thought Bubble's a good convention to launch a horror comic, isn't it? Because it's it's in spooky season. But also I think it's one of those things of, it's like the trends, isn't it? Like things go in cycles, don't they? And I think we're entering that kind of, with that romance horror kind of cycle again, and then we'll get back to the like almost the urban fantasy stuff will come around again, and that kind of thing. Because even the ones that I picked out, like the that SAS one, that's got supernatural vibes to it and stuff. So I think we're just in that era at the moment. So we've come out of the zombie era, at least.
I mean, it is quite. I mean, when you do look through a Debian books list, it is quite a mix of different genres. There's some non-fiction stuff in there as well. There's a couple of autobiographies as well, and that mix of stuff that is aimed at adults as well as stuff that's aimed at kids, which is great. I did notice, which is probably my last pick, is which is Pirate Fun, which is by Colin Bell and Neil Watson Lawrence. So I haven't read any of the Pirate Fun titles, but I read he did one called Dungeon Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was hilarious.
There seems to be a pirate with a rainbow beard.
Again, it's a great all ages.
Yeah, that's quite
comic.
Not the kind of art style that normally appeals to me, but actually it looks really fun. Just with that style.
Yeah, it's really, yeah. As I said, I've not read any of the Pirate Fun ones, but the Dungeon Fun ones were brilliant. And so I'd even say, even if you went along, because I'd imagine you'd still have those. If you went along and you looked at it and you thought Pirate Fun wasn't your thing, I'm telling you, Dungeon Fun, mate.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at on the Etsy page for the writer. It's got like 5 pages of the Pirate Fun in like the preview images, and yeah, it just looks like you say fun, kind of Teen Titans-y, Teen Titans Go sort of vibes I'm getting from the art and the it's a bit fun maybe. Do you know what's quite good, right? Is I'm just thinking we've done like gone around 9 times. and we've had like a third of them have been all ages books, which is, I don't think there's often you can say that about convention with debut books. So again, there's a good mix. Yes, there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of horror, but there's a good number of all ages books. And to be fair, thinking about Thought Bubble over the years, there's a lot of that goes on, because a lot of the all ages stuff, it is the independents and the smaller press that do them, you know. So yeah, so it's always good to see, and things are, you know, the quality of these things. You think back when we started going to these or when I started going to these conventions in 2008. I know you two have been going a lot longer, but a lot of like the self-published stuff, it was like the pamphlets, and now it's so sort of like so much better quality wise, because it's the technology is there for people to be able to afford to get a decently printed book, and for you to feel like you bought something that's worthwhile for a reasonable price. So yeah,
but also as well, you still have comics that are still printed in that way, and there's nothing wrong with that equally, because sometimes people do it that way because that's how they want to do it. That's how they want to present their art, you know. But what you're saying is also right. It's now the playing fields are leveled if that's what your choice is. If your choice is you want to produce a book which is, you know, going to stand up next to the likes of a DC or a Marvel or whatever in terms of like how it's printed and how it looks and stuff, you can do that. The technology is there for you now. So it is, yeah, so it basically means anyone can kind of get involved really to any sort of level, which is great. And I know it's one of the things I like about going to Thought Bubble is you see so many different ways of doing comics.
Yeah.
And, you know, not just from how they're written, how they're drawn, but how they're actually produced and stuff. But it always gives me the creative bug whenever I go, which is always good for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going back to what you're saying now, just looking at one now, it's just sneaking another one. It's Crybaby by Weird is the Best. And essentially, it's reminds me very much of like Rachel Smith sort of thing. It's a very personal story. It's a short, positive story of panic attack recovery. It's 12 pages and it's A6 size, and it is literally that. It's kind of like almost printed, produced in such a way that it looks like each issue is almost hand drawn as well. Like, you know, it's very kind of like, for want of a better word, homemade in aesthetic kind of thing. So yeah, so that's all out there, and like you say, there's a place for it. Absolutely.
Right then, I feel that is a good place to round up. I should round up by actually telling people when Thought Bubble actually is and where Thought Bubble actually is. Just launched into it.
That's excitement.
That is excitement. I am excited. So Thought Bubble takes place 16th and 17th of November at the Harrogate Convention Centre. Going to be running on the Saturday. It's running from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll probably repeat that next episode as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think the other thing as well, even though they've got that sort of section with the debuting books, I think you'll find, which is what I know, because they tend to do that every year anyway, but you find when you actually go, there's loads of other books that are debuting. It's just they haven't always got them onto the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, and there's so many other sort of people that are coming back with books and bringing out second issues and things like that. And to me, some of them are debuting books because I haven't seen them before. I know we'll probably talk about exhibitors, but I just want to say quickly, I'm really excited because Cinebook, I think, are one of the exhibitors.
That's just dangerous for my wallet.
Oh no, I was just going to say my wallet is less excited because they always fleece me. But I don't think they were there last time we went.
They weren't actually. No, were they there last year, Ames? Because you went last year, didn't you?
I can't remember them last year, but it wasn't a great experience for me there being alone. So I can't remember them, but that doesn't mean that they weren't.
Well, you won't be alone this time around.
No, I'm much looking forward to going.
The dream team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get that carried away. Right, so so if you're listening to this and you are exhibitor and you're taking anything new to Thought Bubble that we've not mentioned and you wanted to give us a mention, then you can drop me an email at thegeeks@geeksyndicate.co.uk, and I'll probably be doing some posts on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, so of stuff that I'm interested in and I think people might want to check out at Thought Bubble. So, and obviously if you want to support our shows, our podcast, you can do. You can buy us a virtual coffee at ko-fi.com, or you can join our Patreon, which doesn't really have anything on it, but all proceeds go back into the production of the podcasts and such.
Lovely jubbly.
Cool. So all that it remains is for me to say thanks to Ant and Amy.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And we will return for the next episode. I don't know what we'll be looking at. Possibly.
Maybe guests and exhibitors.
Yeah, maybe guest exhibitors. I don't know. I almost feel like guest exhibitors are almost two separate ones because there's so many of both. But we'll see how we go.
True. We've got panels to look through as well, potentially, haven't we? So
yeah.
We'll surprise you. It'll be a surprise to us as it is to you. Because we're professionals.
Well, one of us is.
Yes, you are, Amy.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about you, V. I'm not a professional.
Right. So, bye all, and we will see you next episode.
See you later.
Cheerio. Catch you later.